The following is for educational purposes alone. We understand that in view of the current events that are taking place in our world today, it would be well for us to remind God's people of the light that has been given to us in order to understand these events that are taking place specifically in the Middle East. Unfortunately, to the majority of God's professed people today, the events in the Middle East have no connection to Bible prophecy. There is a reason for this. This reason we will touch on another presentation. Jehovah God has given His people enough light in regards to events connected to the close of probation. These events are found in the book of Daniel, chapter 11, specifically verse 45, which takes place before Michael stands up. Would you like to understand the prophetic implications of the events taking place in the Middle East today? If so, we would like to point you to the following inspired declarations where we will be told what books we are to be studying in order to understand these events. What are the books outside of the Bible or the Holy Scriptures that contain the light that God has given to open blind eyes? Let us look at these declarations. Instruction has been given me that the important books containing the light that God has given regarding Satan's apostasy in heaven should be given a wide circulation just now, for through them the truth will reach many minds. Patriarchs and prophets, Daniel and the Revelation, and the great controversy are needed now as never before. They should be widely circulated because the truths they emphasize will open many blind eyes. According to this statement, one of the books mentioned above is Daniel and the Revelation. Regarding these books, we are told they should be widely circulated. Why? Because the truth they emphasize will open many blind eyes. In the year of 1905, Mrs. White penned the following. Many of our people have been blind. Blind to what? Notice, to the importance of the very books that were most needed. Had tact and skill then been shown in the sale of the books, the Sunday Law movement would not be where it is today. What were God's people guilty of in 1905? Well, we are told they were blind to the importance of the very books that were most needed. The Bible declares there's nothing new under the sun. Are we also guilty of being blind to the importance of the books or very books that are most needed today? Note the following statement. In the Desire of Ages, Patriarchs and Prophets, and in Daniel and the Revelation, there is precious instruction. These books must be regarded as of special importance, and every effort should be made to get them to the people. Dear friend, which books must be regarded as of special importance? Well, we read Desire of Ages, Patriarchs and Prophets, and Daniel and the Revelation. Perhaps many of you have a copy of Desire of Ages and Patriarchs and Prophets. But do you possess a copy of Daniel and the Revelation? If not, you need one. And we recommend the 1897 edition. Unfortunately, today's Daniel and the Revelation, that is the 1944 edition, is greatly altered. Therefore, it's extremely important for you to acquire a copy of the 1897 edition. With that said, note the following. The light given was that thoughts on Daniel and the Revelation, the great controversy, and Patriarchs and Prophets would make their way. They contain the very message the people must have. the special light God had given his people. The angels of God would prepare the way for these books in the hearts of the people. Note carefully the language of this statement. The light, we read. The light given. Well, what was that light given her? That thoughts on Daniel and the revelation, the great controversy, and patriarchs and prophets would make their way. Why? Well, because they contain the very message the people must have. Not should have, but must have. It's important to understand the term must here in order to understand this statement correctly. Must conveys a command. It's urgent. It can also be understood as a requirement. The following statement reads, Daniel and the revelation, great controversy, patriarchs and prophets, and desire of ages should now go to the world. The grand instruction contained in Daniel and the revelation has been eagerly perused by many in Australia. This book has been the means of bringing many precious souls to a knowledge of the truth. Everything that can be done should be done to circulate thoughts on Daniel and the revelation. I know of no other book that can take the place of this one. It is God's helping hand. According to Mrs. White's own pen, she knew of no other book, again outside of the Holy Scriptures, that could take the place of Daniel and the revelation. And she closed her statement by adding, it is God's helping hand. Far too many today will have you believe otherwise. Do you aspire to understand the Bible? The books of Daniel and the Revelation? Would you like to be a successful student of the prophecies? If so, note the following carefully. Those who are preparing to enter the ministry, who desire to become successful students of the prophecies, will find Daniel and the Revelation an invaluable help. They need to understand this book. Friends, once again, if it is your desire to become a successful student of the prophecies, you will not only find Daniel and the Revelation an invaluable help. We are told we need to understand this book. What does the term need convey? It expresses the following: required, a necessity or obligation. If we are told by inspiration we need to understand this book, who else but the spirit of devils would tell you the contrary? Why is there a need of understanding this book? Well, note the following. It speaks of the past, present, and future, laying out the path so plainly that none need err therein. You see, this publication speaks of the past, the present, and the future, we are told, and it lays out the path so plainly that what? That none need err therein. It's trustworthy. Absolutely it is. There is no need to be mistaken or to err. What if our prophetic understanding does not align with this book? We read, those who diligently study this book will have no relish for the cheap sentiments presented by those who have a burning desire to get out something new and strange to present to the flock of God. The rebuke of God is upon all such teachers. The great, essential questions which God would have presented to the people are found in Daniel and the Revelation. Everyone needs the light and information it contains. I don't think another statement can be as clear as this one. There's no time for cheap sentiments to be presented to Jehovah's people, for new and strange teachings. If we are found dispensing new and strange doctrine as spiritual food to the flock of God, we read his rebuke will be upon us. Once again, we are reminded that the great essential questions which God would have presented to the people, where are they found? They are found in Daniel and the Revelation. And again, we are told everyone needs the light and information it contains. Perhaps you might think this book is antiquated and therefore no longer accurate. Friends, the truth never changes. If it was truth in the 19th century, it is truth today. Mrs. White penned the following: the interest in Daniel and the Revelation is to continue. How long? As long as probationary time shall last. God used the author of this book as a channel through which to communicate light, to direct minds to the truth. The interest in this book, Daniel and the Revelation, is to continue as long as probationary time shall last. The reason for that is God used the author of this book, we read, as a channel through which to communicate not darkness, but light, to direct minds to the truth, not into falsehood. Satan is busy today among the flock, and every wind of doctrine is blowing. There is no safety unless we rest upon a "Thus saith the Lord." How can we avoid being wrapped up in this web of darkness? We read, the students in our schools should carefully study Daniel and the Revelation so that they shall not be left in darkness. The above counsel was obviously written for our students in our schools, but nevertheless, we too should study Daniel and the Revelation so that we too shall not be left in darkness. With everything and the statements that have been shared thus far, perhaps some of you might be asking if this publication, Thoughts on Daniel and the Revelation, is infallible. For that, we answer no. The mistakes, however, that are found in Daniel and the Revelation are minutiae. However, we must consider the terminology that was used in her writings, in her expressions regarding Daniel and the Revelation, such as need, must, and the warnings connected to the studying and understanding the information contained in Daniel and the Revelation. These should be suffice to show the sincere seeker of truth the will of our Heavenly Father regarding this publication. Not to mention the warning that we read that those found teaching contrary to this publication, the rebuke of God rests upon them. Indeed, these inspired counsels or statements are more than just an endorsement. May Jehovah God continue to bless you and lead you in your own personal studies is our prayer and desire.